Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi, and welcome to Arrows DIY. On my channel, I like to do Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end dupes, thrift flips, and the occasional trash to treasure. This is another episode in my Christmas series, and I'm super excited to share with you some gingerbread inspiration. I hope you find an idea or two for your tier tray, home decor, mantle, or Christmas tree if you choose to hang them from that tree. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoy. And if you do, just subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. You could also check out my Instagram at Arrows DIY. All right, now let's get started. For DIY number 1, I got some of these wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. There are 14 pieces of these gingerbread fellows. Now we're just gonna go ahead and give them a paint of whichever brown paint you choose. I didn't have it on hand, so I had to mix some. I'll leave all the paints I use in my description box below as well. So now I'm using some apple barrel black paint, and I'm just going to paint their little faces in using my embossing tool. I also choose to make little bow ties in green and red, as well as the buttons in the middle of their bodies. And I think they turned out so sweet. Once we get our gingerbread all dapper, we're going to go ahead and start working on the baking sheet. I took one of this 2-pack from the Crafter Square. They're the 5x7 canvases, but there's no wood, so it's just the canvas. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut it down to size. So I just put 2 gingerbread on there so we know to leave about 1 inch of empty space around them. So I cut it with my X-Acto knife, my box blade, and now I'm just gonna give it a coat in this brushed metal silver by Folk Art. I like the Folk Art line because it gives a nice coverage. You don't have to worry or use too much paint. However, once this was fully covered in the paint, I go ahead and I let it dry. If I was to redo this DIY, I would have painted the other side, and you'll see in a minute why. While that's almost dry, I'm going to take these buckets I got from Dollar Tree in the wedding section, and I'm just going to use the handles off the buckets, and I'm going to paint them in that same silver color. Once everything's fully dry, I paint the back in the same color we painted the gingerbread men. So now I'm going to try to make a beveled edge for our baking sheet. You totally do not have to do this part, but I'm a little extra. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're not new here, you know I'm extra, so bear with me. I'm going to use this ruler, this Alp-shaped ruler, and I'm going to measure 10 millimeters to make a border. Then I score it with my X-Acto knife a couple times, but you don't want to break through and break off a piece like I just did. You're also going to have to use your scissors and cut a triangular shape in the corner. That way the corners meet and make a nice clean corner. So take your time and make sure that that cut is nice and clean. That way it falls nicely. Once that's done, I just use some hot glue. I use Gorilla Hot Glue, and I'm just going to put it a nice line in that crease we created, as well as the corners. So this is nothing hot glue cannot fix. Super simple, super cute. Now once we get that side done, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to use tons and tons of hot glue to secure these little metal handles. We're also going to use masking tape to help give a sturdy hold. Now if you want to stand this up on your tier tray, you are going to have to bend one of those handles, and I do that later for my tier tray. So I just bend that handle back so that it stands on its own. Now I'm just using this ribbon I also got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a border for a little sign. I like making double-sided decor for tier tray and Christmas ornaments. So I'm just going to make a little homemade sign just to give it a little bit of that homemade charm. And I'm using the same colors and ribbons throughout all of these DIYs. So now I'm making a little tiny bow, and I do that using hot glue because I don't have that much dexterity. So now I'm gonna use a little bit of twine to tie the center of that bow and give it a nice tug. Secured with hot glue, and then I just hot glue that right on top. This is going to be the top of the ornament. Exactly where I put that bow is where you would want to add twine or some kind of hanger for your ornament. Like the ornament hook can go right where that bow is. Now we're going to use these green stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I didn't paint them because green kind of went with what I'm going with today, and I just wrote in the phrase "made with love," and I used a Sharpie just to write the word "with" because I thought it gave it that homemade feel. So you've got to let me know what you think about this DIY, because I think it's super charming and definitely feels homey. I did touch up the corners with some paint, and I also added some greenery as well as some gingerbread people to the front of this little sign, and I was super happy with it. So once that was done, I glued in the little gingerbread on the other side, 6 in the pan, and I think they're so cute. I'm really happy with this DIY, but let me know what you think. The hot glue spots there help it look welded, so I thought it was kind of cute. Looks like a welded metal pan. Alright, so for this next DIY, we're going to use a ceramic truck from the Dollar Tree, and it's supposed to be a planter for succulents. I'm going to take it out, and I'm also going to put a nice coat of Mod Podge just to help the paint stick. Now I am using chalk paint here. I recommend you use acrylic multi-surface paint by Folgart. I do end up using it later on because I should have used it from the beginning, to be honest. So now I just give it one nice coat in this white paint so that we can go in and paint it with this brown color next. Now, some colors that might be good for you to use for this brown color are Caramel by Apple Barrel or Waverly Hazelnut color, but any brown will do. And I said I didn't have any brown, so I just ended up mixing it, and it works just fine. Now I'm going to use these flexible ties from the garden section in Dollar Tree. If you don't have this, I do give you some alternatives to use in a little bit. However, we're going to use this, and we're going to measure it by wrapping it around horizontally on this truck 3 times, and then we're going to cut that out. Next, we're going to cut 3 strands, and we're going to paint them in the 3 colors of our video today. So one is going to be in this green color, another one is going to be in this red color, and the other one is going to be in a white color. Now you should use multi-surface acrylic paint because this is a gripped material. Now if you can't find this wire grip material, you could also use some of this nautical rope as well as this other rope and just paint the rope. Now I'm going to try to replicate the nautical rope design by holding 3 strands with one hand and twisting them in a spiral motion with the other hand. And I do this for the full length. Now I'm going to cut one of the ends to give it a nice clean end, and I'm going to measure it to the back of the truck. That way the back of the truck has a nice decorative finish on top. I thought this added like a cute cookie effect, kind of like a confectionery truck, a gingerbread truck, really. Now we're just going to use some hot glue at the top of the truck, and we're just going to make it look like some sugar or some syrup or some snow, depending on how your imagination works. Make it whatever you want, but I just put this on top, and I thought it was really cute just to have some snow on top. I used the faux snow for this effect. Now we're going to add the wheels. So to make the wheels, I used the Play-Doh from Dollar Tree, the kids Play-Doh. Now I took the yellow and the white Play-Doh because I figured they'd be the easiest to paint. And I go ahead, I use my metal ruler, and I make 4 slices of each color. So I have 4 circles of yellow and 4 circles of white. Now I'm going to form them into somewhat of a circular shape. I want them to be round. Now I'm going to use the same ruler and I'm going to chop them, slice them like a pizza into 8 slices, 8 equal parts. Once both of the circles are cut into slices, we're going to rebuild the pizza in an alternating pattern. So yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow, white. Then we're going to press the creases down to connect them and smush them together. Once they're nicely smushed together, we're going to use this bottle ornament from the Dollar Tree. You can use a cutter, whatever you find in your home. Just make one nice circle about the shape of the wheel. Mine's are a little bit bigger, but I like it to be a little bit bigger. I wanted my little wheels to be a little bit bigger because I thought that was cute, but you make your wheels any shape you want. I apologize for the fuzziness. I have no idea what's wrong with the camera, but it does fix in a little bit. I'm just showing you here that I paint in the yellow spots with red, and I also paint the corners, and I make kind of like a swirl effect with the red paint. Now I do paint in the window. Forgot to mention I do paint the window in white. And now I'm gonna hot glue the wheels onto the truck. I made like 8 wheels because I thought I was gonna use them in other projects, and I might. For my Christmas series, I might use them in another. So I have 4 extra for other projects. Be sure to hit that bell so you don't miss a new video. I'm gonna have tons of fun in this Christmas series because my second favorite holiday is Christmas. Okay, so now we're going to take some of the same green wire, but we're only going to twist the red wire with the white wire. And I just wanted it to be a little different than the wire we put on the truck. So now I'm going to use the hot glue and I'm going to make a nice icing effect in the front of the truck. And this is going to add some charm to it. I also decided to add some more features around the door, well, around the window, and create a faux door for the truck. And then I also put a waffle design inside the truck door. To do that, you want to make diagonal lines across in one section inside that rectangle you made, and then wait for it to dry. Once it's dry, go in and go in the opposite direction, making new diagonal lines the other way. You can see here in the back of the truck a little better what I mean. Once your rectangle is made, you're going to make my finger to make it smaller for the front of the truck. This is totally unnecessary, but guys, you already know I'm a little extra, well, a lot of extra, and I appreciate you being here. And to all my subscribers, thank you for taking a chance on a crazy kid like me. So now we're going to use some hot glue around the wreath, and we're going to hot glue it there in the center of the headlights, and I'm super happy with this. I love it. I think it's super cute. And then I did make a little tiny flower bag, and I stuck that in the back of my truck with a little spoon, and that's how I chose to decorate it in my home. You could put florals in there, you could put some pine sprigs, some berries, whatever you want to do. Some jars, you could put a candle, don't light it, but you know, just for decoration. But guys, I love this. Oh yeah, and I put a little bow in the front. But there it is in my tier tray. And oh my goodness, it's nuts. I know. I should probably touch up that spot there, but I'll get to it in a little bit. Now for our last and final DIY, I'm going to show you this tiny little sign, double-sided, of course, because we're going to use all the space we get. Now I take this magnet from the Dollar Tree, this magnet, and I did put Mod Podge on it first to help the paint stick. And I gave it 3 good coats of white paint. I paint the sides and the front. Now I'm going to use these stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to write the word SNAP. It's kind of hard to see because my camera went wonky on me again. Apologies. I totally got a new camera, so hopefully this never happens again. So now once I write the word SNAP, I paint the top of his head so that it looks like he has a bite taken out of his head. And he's so adorable. And I glue him right there at the bottom of the sign. So now I'm going to take these letters and I'm going to paint 2 letters, the H and the O, in the same brown color we used on the gingerbread man and on the gingerbread truck. And then I flip the sign over and I give it 1 coat of white paint, and then I give it 1 coat of the brown paint. And this is just going to help match. It's going to help this piece match the rest of our pieces that we made today. Now once those letters are dry, we're going to put them right on top, and we're going to spell out the phrase, "Oh snap." Oh snap! Someone bit my head. That's what he's saying. Oh snap! I should probably tell you my secret word now. My secret word is my name, Favy. Go ahead and write Favy in the comment box below. Write the word Favy and you'd be entered to the drawing for the Sherbonder glue gun, as well as tons of wood pieces. I'm also including one of those ceramic trucks. So if you're interested, you already know to write my secret word in the comment box below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you stay around. I hope you don't leave the video now. Okay, so now I use these little tiny beads I got at the 99-cent store, and I spelled out a phrase. Once I spelled out the phrase, I used some hot glue and some Epsom salt to make it look like sugar around the words. Now if you don't have these beads, you can handwrite it, or you could use your Cricut, but I don't have one of those. So I just use these little beads and I spelled out the phrase, "Christmas calories do not count," because boy, I wish that was true. And there it is on my tier tray. Let me know which one of these DIYs was your favorite today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I have another video coming out very soon with the rest of these DIYs. I had tons of fun making these. I strongly recommend you guys try making these because they're so cute and so fun. That truck was selling for $20 in the store, and all these little things I saw on Pinterest, and I was like, I can so make that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and that wraps up another episode in this Christmas series. I thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. Hit that bell and hit all in the drop down menu below. Share the love, and thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you guys so much. God bless. Take care. Catch you on the next one. Bye. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favy, and welcome to Arrows DIY. On my channel, I like to do Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end dupes, thrift flips, and the occasional trash to treasure. I am super duper excited to present to you another episode in my Christmas series. This is full of a whole bunch of inspiration for gingerbread DIYs. This is the part 2 of my gingerbread mini series, and I really hope you find an idea or two to inspire you in your home decor. If you like unique home decor, please consider hitting that subscribe button and becoming friends, and get something good to drink, your favorite beverage, and let's create together. So I really hope you enjoy, and if you do, please hit that like button. Thank you. For DIY number 1, we're going to be using this ribbon roll from Dollar Tree. It's empty and I'm just going to save it from the garbage. I love using these rolls because they're the perfect size for your tier tray and they're free. I'm going to give it 2 coats, front and back, of this white Adirondack chalk paint. Then I'm going to take some of these gingerbread people from the Dollar Tree, the wood pieces, and I'm going to use my embossing tool to decorate them. So I'm going to take 3 colors, my black by Folk Art, also another color called apple red, and another color called bright green. Now you can use any colors that you have on hand, but I'm a plaid ambassador, so I'm just going to be showing how I use these. Now I thought I was going to make some girls and some boys, so I went ahead and I painted a skirt on the girl, but it ended up looking like a diaper, so I didn't like that anymore, and I'm gonna try something different for the girls later on, but she's gonna stay like that. She'll be the oddball and it'll be fine. Now I'm going to make some bow ties for the gentleman here, and I'm gonna make some in green and some in red, and I just alternate the colors. So some have green bow ties and red buttons, some have red bow ties and green buttons, and then I just use the black for the eyes as well as the little smiles. And I am using the small tip on the embossing tool for this, and I make sure that I don't have too much paint on the tip of the embossing tool. You could also use a Sharpie if it's easier for you, but I don't have any of those on hand, so I'm just using what I have on hand. Now I'm going to do the same for the little girl gingerbreads, and I'm going to add little green bows on their hair and finish it off with some red details in the center. Now I do spend a lot of time on these details because I feel like that's what sets them apart from just store-bought home decor. I feel like these little details make it that much special, that much more special. So this is the part where I add the little skirts to the girls. So I'm just going to use about 1 inch of ribbon. This ribbon I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put a strip of hot glue in the belly portion of this little gingerbread lady, and then I'm going to just pleat the ribbon like so, pushing it down, and I was fine with that. I didn't want to make a whole dress because I wanted you to be able to see the gingerbread color. I don't know, maybe I should have made it a little bit higher, but it's fine for me. It's I think it's appropriate because they're cookies, so it'll be fine. Now for the other little gingerbread lady, I'm just gonna give her a little crop top because she's the rebellious one in the group, but we still love her. So now we're gonna try to arrange these. I put the gentleman on first, and I put them with their hands kind of touching the outer rim of this ribbon roll thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue these guys like so. And it's important that they are formed in this pattern. That way all of their hands touch, so it looks as though they're holding hands. So just be sure that their feet are touching like so. And when you hot glue the ladies on, you know, this roll, you want to make sure that you're placing hot glue on the legs only, because that's the only spot that's going to be touching this piece here. That's the one spot that's going to be connecting these gingerbread ladies to this ornament. So I just go around and do that for all of them, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to save that one little gentleman for DIY number 3, which is my favorite DIY in this video. And he is so cute. So now I'm going to take some more wood shapes from the Dollar Tree, these snowflake ones, and I'm just trying to use everything in my stash, so I just happen to have these. I also took one of these wooden cubes, which I love using for my tier tray decor, and I'm just going to shove it into that hole and kind of make it stuck, so I have something to glue this snowflake to. So I go ahead and I push it from the front, also flip it over and push it through the back, and then I take one of these glitter stickers from the sticker pack on the left, and I just stick it onto the center there, and I'm happy with this little ornament for Christmas. Now on the other side, I'm going to use this do-it-yourself ornament. It's intended, you know, just for crafts for children. They're actually little ornaments, but I really liked this candy cane one, so I just painted it in the same apple red color by Plaid, and once that's fully covered, I'm gonna go ahead and just hot glue that to the center back of this ornament. I love making tier tray decor and Christmas ornaments double-sided, so that's what I'm doing here. I take the same ribbon that I used on the skirts of the gingerbread ladies, and I just hot glued a strip on there just to give it some interest, and then added the candy cane ornament right on top of there. I covered the little hole with a snowflake, and that's how it turned out. I think it's so darling. Now for DIY number 2, I'm going to take this ornament shaped plaque, they're calling wood shape, and I'm going to paint it in the same white Adirondack color. Once it's all painted, 2 coats, I'm going to take some antiquing wax and this sponge applicator from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wax the rim of this wood piece. Now I didn't want to use a paintbrush for some reason. I thought that it would be easier to use this, and it actually was easier to use this because it stayed right where I wanted it to stay. It was very easy to draw a line as long as I kept the wax on one side of this sponge applicator. I use the other side of the applicator to kind of wipe off the excess wax, and I love this rich color it was giving me. I do go over this one more time with chalk paint, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Now I'm going to use these rub-on transfers. These are my absolute favorite rub-on transfers. If you're new around here, I love these. If you're not new, you know I love these. Now I'm just going to cut out the letters that I need using these detailed scissors, also from the Dollar Tree. Now I recommend, if you're cutting it out, never to cut out the border so that your letters stay together and it makes it easy to store. Now I'm going to just arrange these on this wood shape, as Dollar Tree calls it, and I'm just going to try to, you know, space them out accordingly and try to have some kind of order in my life. It doesn't turn out as great as I wanted it to, but I still love it. So you let me know in the comments below what you think about this DIY and which one is your favorite. So then I go ahead and I take my embossing tool, the same one we used to paint the gingerbread people, and I'm just going to rub it. Just, you know, nothing fancy, just scratching it And you'll notice that when you're scratching this rub-on transfer, it'll change color. It'll go from a bold black color to an opaque gray color, and that's when you know that your transfer is fully transferred and you can remove the top film. And it's very impressive. I mean, this is a great alternative if you do not have a Cricut, which I do not, well, not yet, but I love doing this. It gives it a very high-end store-bought feel. Now, I found it simple to use these detailing scissors just to move around the transfer. You do not want to press down on it at all, because once you press down on it, that's it. Your fate is sealed, and you're better off just placing that letter down, because it does not come off easily. So I just go ahead and arrange these letters wherever I feel they should go. And I'm not going to show you the whole process. And as you can see, my D is kind of chopped off, but it'll be fine. I mean, I don't mind it. At this point, I was like, I don't know if I should keep going, but I do, and I'm glad that I did, because it turned out really, really cute. To kind of straighten it out, I just put the little gingerbread dude kind of slanted on his side, and it turned out amazing. I mean, I really like it. I think it's really cute. So I just, as you can tell, it took an eternity to straighten out that letter R, but once it was straightened, I went ahead and did the same thing I did for all of them. And this is the other font in that other pack. Now the thing is that if you're using the other transfer pack, the second one I showed you at the beginning of this DIY, it only has one of each letter, and they're not the same size. So I had to construct the letter Y on my own, and I did that by cutting the X in half and the number 1 in half. So now I just decorated my little gingerbread dude. And when you make that rickrack design on his hands and feet, you want to use the small side of your embossing tool, because I used the big side and it didn't come out as good on one of his hands. for these dowels, you could easily use straws, and sometimes I even find straws that have that candy cane pattern on it, and you could skip this step altogether if you do happen to have those straws. Now I do not, so I'm just going to use the same ribbon that I've been using throughout all these DIYs, and I'm gonna hot glue this ribbon. But first I put these dowels in position. They are not hot glued, but I put them in position so that I can wrap them appropriately so that you won't see any of that dowel from any angle. This was the easiest way I found. Ask me how I know. Trust me, just do it this way. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hot glue the center there, press it down, and then I'm gonna hot glue the sides carefully. You will feel the hot glue, so you want to work very carefully and slowly, or wear finger protectors. Now once that's adhered, we're going to cut off the excess ribbon around the edges, and these are little details that are very important to get right, or else it'll just look very sloppy. So I do cut off the excess around, and I do hot glue the tips as well, and I do the same thing for all 4 corner posts, and that's how it looks. And I do the same thing for the other side. I'm not going to show you every single side, I just wanted to show you this other side in case you wanted to see it. And I did speed it up a little tiny bit. Okay, a lot of tiny bit. But I just wanted to show you that it's not hard to do, but I think it's a very nice finish when you use the ribbon because it's kind of has that sheen to it. So this is where I'm planning to put it, but I'm not going to hot glue it yet because we're going to do one more detail before we hot glue it on. And we're going to do this for the front as well as the back. Now once that's all done, we're going to take our glue gun. This is a detail tip glue gun from Surebonder. But I'm just going to make the same details I made before in my last video. But if you haven't seen my last video, I just used the hot glue to make kind of like a waffle pattern, and I really like how it turns out. Now here on this left side of this birdhouse, I'm going to make a little window, and you'll see later why, or maybe you've already seen why. But I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to make all of the diagonal lines going in one direction first. It doesn't have to be perfect, so don't, be too hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. This is for fun, remember? And we're just going to make the hot glue lines going across on all sides. Now, be careful because it's hot glue. Once we go around the entire birdhouse, we're going to make the diagonal lines going across the other way, in the other direction, diagonally. But before we do that, we want to clear away any of those strings that happen from the hot glue. Some people call them like spider webs. You want to clear any excess glue before you make this new set of diagonal lines going the opposite direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing all the way around. Now when you're doing this around the window, obviously you're going to want to skip the window. You're not going to want to do this pattern inside the window. So we're just going to do the same diagonal lines after we clear away any spider webs. It's very important to clear away the spider webs because we want this to look very neat, and we're going to paint this feature. So if there's any spider webs, it is going to be very noticeable when we paint it. So just take that one moment to just clear away the spider webs and then continue with this little pattern. Now if you're new around here, hello, my name is Fabi. I'm a mother of 5 and I DIY on my spare time. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, I strongly recommend you do it because I have tons of ideas for budget-friendly home decor. And yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this on all sides. And this is how it looks. So this is the new set of spider webs that I'm gonna have to wipe away. Now I made wheels for this train. If you want a detailed way of how I made these, I'll link my part 1 video for my gingerbread video. I made the same ones for my gingerbread truck. So I'll link it right here, and if you want to watch that, I will link it here. I just didn't want to include it in both videos because I didn't want this video to be too long, and I appreciate your time. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching, and I'm so glad you're here. So I went ahead, as you can see, and I painted in the little details. I covered all the yellow with the red paint, and then I made the swirl after I covered those spots. Now I'm just going through and I'm painting this in that gingerbread color I mixed, and I'm just very simply just, you know, covering all of the hot glue so that it just looks like one solid piece. Now I'm gonna take the Play-Doh from Dollar Tree. It comes in a 4-pack, and this pack happened to have purple. So I'm gonna slice 4 circles out of this Play-Doh, and then I'm gonna try to shape them, you know, into a round shape so that you can't see those cuts. Now I'm just gonna paint it with the same gingerbread color, and I'm gonna give it many coats. This is just the first coat I'm showing you. I think I gave it about 4 coats. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue these posts into place. So I apologize, you see me working with one hand, and if you're new here, I'm probably holding my baby right now. So like I said, I'm a mother of 5, so if my baby needs me, I'm gonna be there even if I'm crafting. And it's okay, because he can get inspiration too, you know? He's my supervisor, making sure that I'm offering you guys quality. I'm just joking. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add these posts into place, as you can see. And I do put a good amount of hot glue in there. Now, in the back they're fine, but in the front they kind of, you see how they kind of protrude? We're gonna handle that in a little bit, so don't worry about it if it sticks out a lot after we make that waffle pattern, because you'll see what we do later to rectify that. Now I'm just going to use the bottom of my bucket to kind of make a shape. It's the only thing I could find that was the perfect size, to make the perfect size. So that's what I'm gonna say to you. These little buckets are from the Dollar Tree in the wedding section. They're the wedding favors. So now I'm just gonna paint all the sides and give that other one another coat. So only one of them is fully covered on one side, and all of the other ones are only painted around the edges. So now this one I'm just going to put in position. As you can see, I wanted to make a hole so that I know exactly where to put it once I apply the hot glue. So once I put a lot of hot glue, I know exactly where to put it, because I follow that little hole and I just stick it onto that perch. So once we have that done, I go around and I add hot glue around the edge of it. So I want it to look very drippy, as you can see. And I do that for all of the circles except the one that's fully painted in the brown color. Now I'm gonna give it several coats of white paint, and I'm only painting the hot glue drips so that it looks like frosting. Now I'm taking 6 toothpicks and I'm cutting off the sharp edges, the points. I'm cutting the points off on both sides. Now I'm going to start with 4 of them, and these are going to help me make this structure more stable so that it holds together, because remember, this is Play-Doh from the Dollar Tree. So I love making Dollar Tree DIYs because I think it's very simple to get all of your supplies from one store, given, you know, that your Dollar Tree actually has the stuff in stock. Okay, so now I'm going to take the hot glue and I'm going to add it to the back of the cookie that we colored completely in brown. I'm going to flip it over and add hot glue to it. Then I'm going to put a whole bunch of hot glue in the center there, and I'm going to stick these sticks into it, but not too far into it that it goes through the front. Now if it goes through the front, don't worry about it, because we do cover the front. But this is what it looks like close up with all the hot glue. Now I'm going to take the next, I guess, cookie that we made, and I'm going to slip it onto the first cookie. And you want to push those wooden toothpicks through. Now I did notice that a little bit of the purple was showing through, so then I go ahead and I just add some more of that gingerbread brown paint. And I'm going to continue this process. But when you put the toothpicks in, you want to make sure that the toothpicks go inside of that frosting circle. That way they're, you know, within the bounds of the cookie. And the hot glue helps keep everything in place. The frosting circle also acts as a boundary and doesn't let the toothpicks open more than they should. Now my toothpicks ran out of I ran out of toothpicks, so I had to cut some more toothpicks, and I basically just cut 2 more and I stuck them in to the Play-Doh. And this is just going to give a little bit more support when I'm adding it to the birdhouse structure now. So I'm just going to push it through into the Play-Doh, and then I'm going to add a whole bunch of hot glue. Now I made sure not to go through the front of the biscuit at the bottom, but if you do, it's totally fine, because we're going to add another decorative feature in the front, so you won't even see it. But once I do that, I push it all together, and now we have the front of our train made. There are about 3 steps left, and then our train will be fully assembled. But that's how it's looking for now. I do touch so that it looks kind of train-like. So now I'm gonna hot glue it. Oh, I do show you. Sorry about that. This is a tutorial after all. Alright, so then I hot glue it with a ton of hot glue because I do not want this coming apart. Now you could use this as an ornament. It would just be one of those heavier ornaments, so you would have to have a very sturdy hook attachment to it. But I think you could totally use this as an ornament. I am using it for my tier tray and probably for my mantle, but you totally could. Now I added 2 little pieces of popsicle sticks layered on top of each other just to make sure the bottom of the biscuits touch the bottom of the train support, and that's how it's looking so far. We are almost done with this sweet little train. I totally paint the bottom as well because I like it looking nice from all angles. Alright, so now we're going to take this little mushroom piece and we're going to give it some frosting. So I'm going to use the hot glue and I'm just going to put 2 strips around the top of the mushroom, like so. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to take your time so that you don't burn yourself. And I make 3 strips at the bottom. And once those are dry, I go ahead with a very small fine tip paintbrush painted in white. I use Cottage White by Folk Art. Any white will do. I like the Folk Art line because it's very pigmented. And you see, it's like not perfect, but that's okay because it gives it that handmade charm. So not everything has to be, you know, textbook, ruler, perfect. But you know what? If you like yours perfect, make yours perfect because it's your DIY. So just do it your way and it'll be great. So now I take hot glue and I put a whole bunch of hot glue in this spot here and I hold it longer than I want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then I add more hot glue to be sure it doesn't go anywhere. And that's it for the top of the train. Now we're going to work on the wheels, I believe. But this is how it's looking so far. So you could totally paint that little part there where the hot glue is oozing and just make it look like more frosting. Now I'm going to take the stick of this foam brush and I'm going to use this as the attachment for my wheels. So I have a ton of these foam applicator sticks. It's crazy how much I have, but if you're a crafter, you probably have about a zillion of these. So I like to use these in my DIYs. Now I'm going to measure 1.5 inches, I believe. Yes, 1.5 inches, and I'm going to cut that with my miter shears. So we're going to cut 2 pieces of the stick, and then we're going to hot glue them in position. I mean, once I retrieve it, because usually when you use the miter shears, your wood pieces go flying across the room. So be careful if you use miter shears. Wear safety goggles. So now I'm going to hot glue them. like so, exactly where I put those popsicle sticks, the connector pieces. So that's what they look like, and they're flush to the exact length, sorry, the exact width of this support plank at the bottom. So now I'm going to take the wheels that I made. Now you could put the wheels that you purchase if you choose to purchase these pieces. And I'm just trying to see, I'm just being finicky at this point, to see which side I want to face up. Then once I hot glue them, I move the train vertically so that all of the wheels are on the same plane. Now here I'm showing you that my toddler came into my craft room and he painted my wheel in the gingerbread brown color. So thank God I had already painted extra wheels just in case. Now I'm going to use this race car kit from the wood shop. I got these in the toy section at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use these wheels as well as these two little sticks for the back of the back portion of the train. I did have to add one more plank just so that the wheels are the same height. So I go ahead and I take another one of these sticks from the foam applicator brushes thing, and I'm just going to cut them to the correct width of the bottom of the birdhouse. So I do this twice, and I also paint those race car wheels in the same gingerbread brown color. Then I hot glue them. Then I hot glue these wood pieces to the bottom of this train. Now I also added a detail to the wheels. I put some hot glue around the edges of the wheels. Now once that was done, once that circle was made, I went in and I added some dashes just to make them look frosted as well. So I did this 4 times, and then I also painted the bottom portion of the gingerbread train so that it looks finished from all angles, and it just looks neater. And if it's an ornament, I mean, you might see the bottom depending on where you place it on your tree. So now I'm going to hot glue these gingerbread wheels onto the sticks, and I do that in the same way that I put on the first wheels. I hot glue them and then I turn the train vertically so that they're at the same height, and so that the train is, you know, vertical, that it can stand properly. And it doesn't, like, you know, tilt to one side more than the other. Anyways, that's how I did it. You can do it any way you feel. So I go ahead and I do this to all 4 wheels, and I just make sure that they are on there for good. So this is what the train is looking like now, and now I'm going to add hot glue to those, to the edges of the roof, and this is just going to make it look like, you know, like a snowy roof, give it the Christmas vibes, the frosting vibes, the oh so cute gingerbread vibes. Oh my goodness. How much do you love gingerbread? I love gingerbread so much. So I just go ahead and I add hot glue. Now, when you're adding this hot glue, okay, if your hot glue is super duper hot, you want to slowly add this hot glue. However, if your hot glue is not so hot, meaning like you just put a new glue stick in your glue gun and you're still waiting for that glue to melt, then you want to push it out a little bit faster. It's actually easier to do it if your hot glue isn't that hot. It actually it makes the shape you want it to make when you're making the snow on the roof. So just keep that in mind when you're making the roof, when you're making snow on any DIY. The hotter the glue gun, the less control you'll have of your snow. The hotter the hot glue, the less control you'll have. So now I just did the same thing I did. I wrapped the little sticks and I hot glued them right there in between the wheels. So now I'm taking this gingerbread guy from DIY number 1 and I'm going to chop him right there. But I was trying to find a perfect angle to cut him at, because I wanted him to look like he was kind of like hanging out the window saying hi. So the angle was very important, extremely important. I busted out the math and the degrees and the angles and all that, because yeah, that was very important to me. But he's adorable. Look at him. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How much you want to bet I'm going to use the bottom half of his body? I probably will. I'm so cheap. I don't like throwing out anything I might use. So now I'm going to go in with this sparkle Mod Podge. And that's actually my plaid word. My product is sparkle Mod Podge. You can write that in the comments down below. And you'll be entered into the giveaway. So I think we might be picking 2 lucky winners for a $50 prize, if I'm not mistaken. I'll leave all the details in my description box below. And then I go ahead. This is the first time I've ever used Sparkle Mod Podge, and I absolutely love it. It adds the perfect amount of sparkle, and the sparkle is like rainbow sparkle. It's not even like normal sparkle, so it's giving me crazy vibes. Yeah, so I go ahead and I apply it all over this thing. I would apply it to my face. I love it that much. I'm not even joking. Okay, maybe not to your face. No, don't put it on your face. I'm just extra. And it's very late. And I've been talking for 40 minutes. If you're still here, thank you so much for your support. And please hit that like button if you like this video, if you like the ideas. Let me know down below which one was your favorite part on this video, which one was your favorite DIY. I love knowing all those things. Also, let me know, how much do you love gingerbread? Do you hate gingerbread? I mean, it might not be for everyone, but I was bitten by the gingerbread bug and I cannot get enough gingerbread. I'm going to be making another gingerbread video, so if you enjoyed this one, be sure to subscribe. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, let me know all about it. There's the train on the tier tray. And that wraps up another episode in my Christmas series. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Take care. God bless. It looks like the names will be found in the next video. Bye. Good luck. Here's another episode in my Christmas series, and I'm super excited to show you some more gingerbread inspiration. This is the part 3 in my gingerbread mini series, and I'm so excited to show you guys what I've made today. Alright, so let's get started. For DIY number 1, I'm going to be using this tag sign I got at the Dollar Tree. It's a smaller tag sign, perfect for your tier tray. And I'm also going to be using this these wooden words from the fall in Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut off the word farm using a regular pair of scissors. This wood is very thin, so it's not difficult at all to cut this. However, I do recommend going in the opposite direction once you get to the end, because once you start getting to the middle of that wooden word, it does get kind of tricky. Once that's cut out, I do sand the edge there to make it nice and smooth. I don't show you it, but I do that with a sanding block from Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to be using Apple Barrel's Flag Red, and I'm going to give this 2 coats of that red color. Once that's fully painted, I just set it aside, and now we're going to be working on the tag sign itself. With the help of a wide craft stick, I just draw a line there connecting both of those points at the top. Now we're just going to draw a triangle on the bottom portion of the tag sign using the same craft stick. So you just want to trace the same width of the craft stick on all sides of the rectangle. And we're also going to draw 2 more lines under that first line we drew at the top of the tag sign. So it should look like this. Now, once you have that rectangle drawn at the bottom, we're going to erase all of the extra lines that we made. And then we're going to give this entire tag sign another coat in the white Adirondack chalk paint color. Once that's fully coated and dry, we're going to paint the inside of the rectangle in this gray color. Now you're free to use any paint, any gray paint you have on hand, but I'm going to share the paints that I use in case you're curious. So the paint that I use is this one by Apple Barrel called Gray Fox. And I just paint the inside of this rectangle. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, because I feel that any imperfections in handmade crafts just add to the charm. So no worries there. We're going to take one of these wooden sticks, and they just come off the foam brushes from Dollar Tree. We're going to give that 2 coats of the white Adirondack chalk paint. Now I'm going to use some Mod Podge and a window cling from the Dollar Tree. Now this window cling pack, it is the gingerbread one, and I'll show you later in this DIY what that looks like in case you want to pick that up. Now it does have a little bit of glitter around the holly and the berries there, but I don't mind glitter. I like glitter, especially for Christmas. So once that's attached there, I give it another coat of Mod Podge on top to seal it. Now I'm going to take these stickers from, I think they're called the pop-up stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut 5 of them out and give it a good coat, 2 coats of black paint. I'm just going to set those aside to dry, and once they're dry, we're going to assemble them on this tag sign. So I'm trying to make an oven, so I'm just going to place them where I want them first. I'm not gluing them. They are a little sticky, but not too sticky, so I do have to add some more adhesive to them. I chose to use Aleene's tacky glue as my adhesive. However, you'll be free to use whatever you'd like. I used Aleene's tacky glue because I wanted to be able to move them around a little bit before they fully adhered. With hot glue, you have 1 second, and I just thought it would get messy with hot glue, so I would strongly recommend using Aleene's tacky glue. So I also used that sign as a straight edge to make sure they're all straight. But you know, you can use a ruler or whatever. That was just what I had handy. It was right next to me, so I just used that. Now I just use the Aleene's tacky glue and a little paintbrush, and I paint on a little tiny bit of Aleene's tacky glue, and I also wipe off some of the excess with that same brush. So once I have those 5 buttons on there, our stove oven is almost done. Now I take some red and white baker's twine, and I got this off Amazon. I can link it in the description box below if you like. And it came in a 2-pack for I think about $8, but you know, prices change. So, but I got a red and white as well as a green and white. So I really like this baker twine. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put a little dot of hot glue at the beginning there, and I'm just gonna twist it and kind of spiral this baker's twine all along this wooden piece here. And I just add a little bit of hot glue in different spots. Now once it's fully covered, I hot glue it, and this is going to be the handle of our oven. I just added the baker's twine to give it some interest so that it would pop against the white of this oven, and it kind of adds a little bit more of that Christmas cheer. I don't know, you let me know what you think. So next I'm just gonna hot glue the word fresh on there, a little gingerbread dude in the center of that gray rectangle, so it kind of looks like he's trying to escape the oven, or that he's just freshly made, or that he's fresh. So now we're just gonna hot glue a gingerbread dude right in the center there of that gray rectangle, and I thought it was really cute. Now just to add a little bit more cutesy, I just added some baker's twine to the bottom, just going around 3 times, as well as a little finger book. So it's very simple to do. I hope that makes sense, but if you'd like a tutorial, I could totally make one just for the bow. And I wasn't sure where to put this little finger bow once I made it, so let me know where would you have put this bow, because I think it looks cute on all of the different spots. But I just decided to put it right on top, and let me know what you think. I think it's adorable. Now I did add some gift wrap, the candy cane stripe gift wrap on the back, just to help it look more finished, and I did have to pull off the baker's twine for that. But this is the gingerbread, that is the gingerbread window cling. So for DIY number 2, we're going to be using this wooden piece. It's kind of like a Christmas tree box thing. I'm not too sure what it is, but I just gave it a coat of the classic caramel color. I gave it 1 coat in the front, and now I'm going in with this color Kelly Green, and I'm painting the inside of the tree in this color. I make sure to paint all of the inside, the whole back of that tree. So once both of the insides of the box are painted in that green color, I gave the outside another coat of that caramel color. Now I'm going to paint the inside sides of the box in this red color, the same flag red color that we used on the oven, on the words of the oven. and I just made sure to go all around that bottom portion, the stand part, and all of the sides. I didn't paint the inside because, well, I figured no one was going to see it, and also I wanted to use this piece on my coffee bar, so I think that's fine. Again, you're free to do whatever you like on your project. So now I'm using this 3D fabric paint, puffy paint in the color shiny white, and I'm just gonna trace the little markings on it. So I'm just tracing those markings with this puffy paint. On the other side of this, I just made some of my own designs, whatever I wanted to do, so you're free to do whatever you'd like on your project. But I like the fact it kind of looks like royal icing, and once I finish drawing in these features, I just let this piece set overnight. I also drew the outline of this to make it look like a cookie, and then I added some gingerbread people with hot glue and a yellow star on top. Now for this next DIY, I'm using this breadboard from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start using some of this cottage white color and this sponge brush. I take a small amount of paint and I just start dabbing it on. One of my friends, Melissa from Melissa Makes It DIY, she made a really cool gingerbread DIY on a breadboard, and I like the idea, so I'm gonna try to make something a little different, but I like that idea, so I'm gonna go ahead and just stamp on this breadboard with some white paint. And the idea here is just to make it look like powdered sugar. So I'm just going to keep stamping it, and yeah. So now I'm going to take a gingerbread person and I'm just going to hold him or her in place. I'm going to hold the little gingerbread body in place as I stamp. So I did take a lot more paint and I just stamped all around, trying to get into all the nooks and crannies and all the curves of the body. Now I used a tiny paintbrush, a smaller paintbrush, and I just kind of drew in the form so that you could see the form of the gingerbread a little better. I would recommend using some kind of chalk marker or some acrylic paint marker. I'm in the market for some, so if you could recommend a good brand, I would appreciate it in the comments below. But I'm I would have used them. So feel free to use stickers, or you could even handwrite the message. Now I'm going to take some of this ribbon that I got from Family Dollar, and I'm just going to finish off the rest of the breadboard, just to give it some of that glitter, Christmas cheer. The first DIY had some glitter, so I wanted a little bit of glitter in all of the DIYs today. And I just wrap it around the rectangle portion of this breadboard, I guess. And I used Gorilla Hot Glue, if you're wondering. I use Gorilla Hot Glue for all of my projects, and this is a high temperature detail tip glue gun, and it's really cool for little finicky projects like this. And this is how it came out. Now I'm just gonna put in the letters. They're not fully dry because I don't have enough patience to wait for that, so don't mind my fingers. And I do touch up these letters after I glue them on. I do touch up the letters. So I'm just gonna put the letters, hot glue them in position, and I'm gonna spell out the phrase, "You can't catch me," because I figured my kids would love that. So if you're new around here, my name is Favi, and I love making fun, budget-friendly home decor on a budget. So if you're still here, I would recommend maybe hitting that subscribe button and becoming friends, because I have a whole lot of home decor ideas, always on a budget. So now I have these from the Dollar Tree, and they're just like these Christmas truck, farmhouse truck wooden pieces, and I'm gonna give them the same color, the classic caramel color. I'm sorry, I don't know what I said before, but it's classic caramel. The color is classic caramel, and I'm gonna paint this truck in that color. This is the same color I used on the gingerbread people this time, as well as the Christmas tree from the last DIY as well. Now I'm going to go in with the same Kelly green color, and I'm going to paint this Christmas tree. Fairly straightforward. I also paint the wheels in white, and once that was dry, I go in with this flag red color, and I'm just going to make them look like candy, like peppermint candies. I did order some peppermint candies online from Amazon, and I can link them here below. If you don't want to paint these, if you don't want to paint this feature on your wheels, you could totally just use an actual peppermint bead. I used it in my last video, but I do use one of those beads in the trunk of this truck. So right under, you'll see it in a second. I also chose to distress the truck a little bit in this black paint because I wanted the gingerbread dude to kind of pop out. I didn't want him to just mix in with the truck. So I felt like the distressing kind of separated him from the truck. And also, I wanted him to look like a little rebel, so I guess a little dirty gingerbread truck would help with that rebel nature of all of these gingerbread people today. If you haven't noticed, I have a theme going through all of these gingerbread DIYs today, and they're all mischievous, risk-taking, troublemaking gingerbread. So I hope you have fun with these DIYs if you do try them, and I certainly had fun making them. So now after much deliberation, I chopped this gingerbread dude in half so that he looks like he's popping out the window, and I'm gonna take one of these glitter bow stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna put it at the top of this Christmas tree. Now this is the peppermint bead I was talking about earlier, and I'm just gonna take one and put it in the trunk so it looks like he's driving away with all the Christmas goodies. And then once I was done with all that stuff, I just put a little bit of hot glue on the window and then just hot glued him there like so. Now he was a little heavy compared to the wood piece itself, so I had to add some hot glue behind him as well, and I just waited for that all to dry before I hot glued it to the breadboard. But I think it's super cute. Oh, that's right, I also took some of these beads. This was just a little decoration from an ornament. It was the deer ornament from Dollar Tree, the Christmas tree deer. I just took it off the neck of the deer and ripped off the beads. So if you don't have this specific one, you feel free to use any bead you have on hand that's about the same size, or just use that peppermint bead in the trunk and just put it on the wheels and then put something else in the trunk. You could put some gifts, you could put, I don't know, anything you want, some faux snow, you could put some, like a spoon, anything you want to put in the trunk. I mean, feel free to do whatever you like on your project, but this is how this one came out, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back of this breadboard, just using a little bit of hot glue. So that's how it came out. Let me know what you think about this DIY in the comments below. And I hope you're enjoying this video. I love bringing unique home decor, fun home decor. So I hope you're enjoying these ideas. I hope you're finding something different, learning something new, maybe getting inspired by something today. So once everything was attached, I said, I didn't lie, I touched up all of the black paint. So I just touch up all the black paint, and I used a small paintbrush for that. And I actually had to do it one more time after this, but it's important to use the folk art paint. I'm using the sequins black color because it has a little bit of glitter in it, and that's like my new favorite black color right now. It's called Sequin Black by Folk Art, and that's how it turned out. And I think it's so cute. But you guys gotta let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Now this next DIY is fairly simple. It's our last DIY today, so if you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around, and I hope you're having fun watching this. Now I took these mug color yourself ornaments, and this glue, this wood glue, is like a zillion years old. But anyways, I had to do some work to get to the glue. So I just used a foam brush and I painted on the wood glue. And basically we're just gonna stick all of these wood pieces together, kind of making one solid mug piece. And it does stand on its own. So just do a really good job. Make sure that you apply the wood glue evenly and that you press firmly, and that, you know, it's level at some sort. Like, just make sure it lines up when you stick it together. And I let it dry overnight, so it did take a little bit, but I think it's totally worth it. This would be really cute at the end of a garland as well for your tier tray, if you wanted to do that. Now what I like about using the wood glue as opposed to the hot glue is that you do have time to wiggle it around. So if you don't get the perfect position the first time, you could totally just wiggle it around until, you know, it's in the perfect spot. And I just do this for the whole deck. The whole bunch of wood pieces, I just hot glue them together. It's very simple. Now once I have that solid piece glued together, I wipe off any excess wood glue around the edges, and then I just clamp them together with these tiny little clamps from Dollar Tree. And they you don't have to worry about it making any dents in your wood because they're very gentle. They have that grip. And yeah, so I left it there overnight. So once that was fully dried, I took off the clamps, and now it's the fun part. We're gonna paint and decorate it and make it super cute. So I'm gonna start off with this color, the same flag red color, and we're going to paint. I'm not sure what happened to my camera, but I just paint the whole thing red and I give it 2 coats. Sorry about the blurriness. Technology, I don't know, I cannot explain it. But this is what I did. So now once that was fully dry, I flipped it over and I'm going to give the other side a coat in this same Kelly green color. So same thing, just I was trying to do something else, but like I said, I couldn't find my stickers, so I just had to paint over the entire thing, and it worked out pretty well. But you know, like in crafting, if something happens, your plan A doesn't work, you just move on to plan B and it's totally fine. So I took this snowflake from Dollar Tree, just a wood piece, and I painted it in white. Now I took half of the gingerbread body from my first gingerbread video. I promised I would use the other half of his body, so here I am using the other half of his body, and I just hot glued it to cover that hole on the top. I'm using the same 3D fabric paint in white shiny, and I'm just going to cover the top of this mug so that it looks like whipped cream. So it kind of looks like this little gingerbread dude is taking a dive into a nice warm mug of hot cocoa, and I think it's so cute. So you let me know in the comments down below if you would try this DIY, and if you like it, tell me all the things you're thinking in the comment section below, because I love hearing what you guys think. And this is very simple to do. Now, keep in mind that when this 3D puffy paint dries, it is no longer as puffy as it was when you first applied it. So my sweet friend Maddie from Artsy Maddie, she made puffy paint, 3D puffy paint on her own. So I'll link the video where she discusses how to make that puffy paint, and I strongly recommend you check out her channel because she's incredibly talented. But she makes her own puffy paint, and I don't want to give away her technique, but I probably will try that in an upcoming video, because I was kind of disappointed when this puffy paint deflated on me. Okay, so once that was fully set, I did give it another coat in that Kelly green color. Now I couldn't find the sticker. in hot chocolate and whipped cream. I mean, so I couldn't decide whether to use the girl gingerbread or the boy gingerbread. I ended up just using the girl gingerbread. You know, you use whatever you'd like on your project. But I'm just gonna glue her like that. And at this point, I didn't know that the puffy paint was going to deflate on me. So, and also I was running low on the 3D paint at this point after all these DIYs. So I'm definitely gonna have to pick up some puffy paint as well as some wood glue. But anyways, I went ahead and I just used the puffy paint all the way around. Now, as I let this dry, my toddler broke into my craft space and he totally destroyed this, and I didn't have enough puffy paint to fix it. So you'll see in the final reveal that, you know, my DIY is a little wonky and I was gonna fix it, but then I'm like, you know what, it's fine, it'll just serve as a memory of my little mischievous toddler with these mischievous troublemaking gingerbread. So what I'm saying is I feel like it's fitting. It's totally fine. So as you can see, I just put the puffy paint all over, just make it look like she's happy taking a bath in some whipped cream. And there you see, my son just completely took off the whipped cream, but it's still cute and it'll make me smile on my tier tray, which is the important part. Anyways, those are all my DIYs today. Let me know which one was your favorite. Let me know in the comments below if you love gingerbread as much as I do. Anyways, friends, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. And take care. God bless. Catch you on the next video. Bye.